Hey there, just like to talk for a couple of minutes about OKRs and PuMP, and particularly the language of these things that we're referring to as OKRs. They've become pretty popular. So they started to become popular back in probably close after 2017 when John Dewar released his book, Measure What Matters, about these organizational key results that he believes will drive 10% growth. However, when you look at the language of these results, these OKRs, it seems to be a bit confusing to me. So there's two examples out of his book, Measure What Matters, and they look like actions or ideas that people have brainstormed more so than, say, organizational key results. I mean, I think every organization is trying to build a world-class team, but what does that really mean for this organization in that context? You might say they've got 10 engineers, and you might say they've got a commercial sales leader, but does having one of those things really take you there? So to me, these sort of language of this stuff gets a bit confusing. Uh, OKRs has tried to redefine itself and improve itself over time. In 2021, this gentleman here came up with a better structure or started to give us better results in terms of what the result is. But even in the language here, he's looking about key results. He's starting to look at things which are, again, mixed up in the language, I feel. And we'll come back to these in just a couple of minutes. But when I think about it from a PuMP perspective, and that is PuMP using the performance measurement methodology, um, it's far better in terms of structuring it in the language of it. Let's have a look. So from a PuMP perspective, what we do in the second step of PuMP is really figure out what are the outcomes or the results that we're trying to make progress towards. So we write these outcomes as if they are real, as an outcome that we want to move towards. It's not necessarily something about, well, we want more of this or we want less of that. It's actually saying it's an outcome. Our customers are satisfied. Our workplace is safe. They're outcomes. And then what we do is we come up with performance measures. And we don't just come up with them by brainstorming them. What we do is we design and select the measures specifically for each one of these outcomes. And when we do that, we then design the measures and select them based on their relevance to the actual outcome. So we've got an outcome, and then we have performance measures. And then what we do is we start to look at those measures, and here is the structure of it. We've got an outcome here. We have forward plans that we stick to. We now have three measures. Here they are here. The measures are a quantification of an attribute of that outcome over time. We give it a name, and we've just got the measure and the description for the measure. Now, what we can do, if that particular one is a performance that we want to improve, what we can do then is we can add a target to the measure. So we've still got this structure of an outcome, a measure, which is a quantification of an attribute of that result over time. Currently, let's say that's running at 54% as a baseline. We then want to try and get it up to 85%. And what we've done is we've structured this in a way that makes it really clear about what the outcome is, what the measure is, and where we want to shift from a baseline of 54%, say, up to 85%. Then what we can do is we can get into looking at, if that's our focus point, shift that measure to that new level of performance. Then we can use improvement actions and initiatives that will then help us, what we think will give us up to that next level. These actions will be implemented to achieve that new level of performance. Now, if these actions don't work, we don't start from the beginning. We just go back and say, okay, these actions didn't work. What have we learned that now will help us understand how we can actually get to that new target and get that new level of performance? So it also promotes a learning culture in the organization. Let's go back after we've just had a look at this language that we use within the PuMP methodology and see what the language is like inside these OKRs. Okay, so the examples came from page 74. They're actions. So rather than having an outcome and then having actions that get us towards that outcome, In this OKR, they've gone straight off with an action, and it's pretty vague, world-class team. And then all of the key results that they've put in here, the first two anyway, they're also actions. We're going to recruit some people and we're going to hire a person. They're actions. And then we've got here is another thing, which is 100% of candidates feel they have had a well-organized professional experience with, okay, even if you didn't extend an offer. So sure, what we've got now is a target, because the target is 100%. There's now a measure, which is the percentage of candidates that feel that they had a well-organized professional experience, even if Nuna did not extend an offer. And they're going to do that maybe monthly or quarterly or something. They're going to target 100%. We don't know what the current baseline is, but what's the outcome? Is the outcome here? Is that contributing to building a world-class team? I don't know, but it seems pretty random to me. Likewise in this one, these things are all actions, every single one. They're not measures. We can call them a corporate objective or we can call them a key result, but they're all actions. So the outcome is really not that clear. Okay, maybe we can reword this one so that does become an outcome, but it's not actually an outcome at the moment, and it doesn't have any measures. So therefore, we could implement these things and do these actions, but how do we know it's making an impact and getting us closer to the outcome? Even with this example here, it's a cooking example from Bart, but it's not a key result, right? It's a measure. It says increase something. Well, that's a bit of an action, but it's probably telling us that they want to move something from this baseline to somewhere else. And they're saying that the baseline is currently 3, but they want to target a 20. But the outcome of that is what? It's not known. It's not clear. So if we're not clear on the outcome, and we're a bit mixed up in our language about measures and targets and actions, it becomes really confusing and not clear about what it is we're trying to achieve. However, if we use a methodology such as PuMP, the performance measurement process, and these are the 8 steps with PuMP, we would have a far better chance, I feel, of writing goals or results that people can understand and they're clear. We have performance measures then that give us feedback on how we're making progress towards that particular outcome. And we're using targets then as signals to set the priority for where it is we're trying to change the level of performance rather than maintain it. And finally, we can then design actions that are really impactful on getting us towards the target, which is closer to the outcome. And if those actions don't work, we should toss them aside, figure out what we've learned from them, and come up with some new ones. Anyway, I hope this has been of value, and thanks for watching.